Man of Maranatha of Detroit, Michigan, where everything depends upon a proper interpretation of Genesis 3:15, where the Most High God said to the serpent, I will put enmity between you and the woman. Her seed's heel will bruise your seed's skull. In continuing the thoughts of the sexual authority of men, we as men subject our will to the Most High God, our authority. God has given man authority, both Gentile and the Israelites. Keys represent authority. I have keys to my car, not your car. Keys to my house, not your house. When you buy a house, you go and you look at it, you say, hey, this is what I want. You sign the document, the deed, the testament, the binding or legal agreement. You sign your name on the dotted line, and guess what they give you? Keys. God has given man authority to be fruitful and multiply, to subdue the fish and birds, and subdue the earth. And this is what Paul has said. Paul was really quoting the beginning when he says, I think it's in Corinthians 15:30, brothers, understand, God has created all types of flesh, a flesh of birds, a flesh of fish, a flesh of terrestrial, and a flesh of celestial. These are the generations of the heavens, the celestial. Israelites are of the generations of the heavens. The Gentiles are the generations of the earth. Now, wow, just driving by and seeing an advertisement for church, and it said being baptized in cannabis. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so maybe that was a message. All right, so here we go. The tree of good and evil. What was that tree? Was it a fig tree? Was it an apple? Was it a grape? What was the fruit of the tree? Now, what I'm saying here, I haven't read any Targums. And Targums are just, what are Targums? Targums are not opinions, but they're opinions. It's an eisegesis of the text. You know, they're bringing out what the text really means. So if you read like the Targum of Jonathan or a Targum of, whomever, many people have wrote different Targums to explain what the scriptures are actually saying. Like the Catholic Church, I think their Targum is called the Catechism. They have a document, a book that goes into explaining every topic that has been presented to the church so that they can have an understanding of the book. If you purchase a Catholic catechism, it is a very resourceful book that gives you an understanding not only of the Catholic faith, but just to see how Gentiles think. I mean, and all you're get an understanding. How else are you going to be able to appeal, to be an apologetic, to appeal to the Catholic faith, to express to them how they are in error if you don't know their precepts? Now, you just have to be strong-minded and strong-willed and of the Spirit so that you will know that you won't, fall into their doctrine. But if you are of God, just like Moses went into Egypt and learned of all of her ways. Now, why would he go into Egypt if Egypt was suppressing God's people? Egypt was suppressing God's people because they were of Cain, in the idea of Not so much lineage, but in the idea of, but you can't say lineage because that's Ham. And Ham read the documents of the Watchers. Man, I'm going off. Okay, so when Ham, Canaan, the son, when he found the documents of the Watchers, he was able to like reproduce the Nephilim. It was involving genetics. I mean, it's nothing new under the sun. What they were doing back then, they're doing now. What they're doing now, they were doing back then. It's all about genetics. It's all about the DNA. There's power in the blood. So Targums are books, documents that are able to fill in the holes to a lot of passages that, that really don't make sense. Like, how did the Nephilim, the giants, survive after the flood if God wiped out everybody except for Noah? You read the Targums, you can speculate and bring forth a more decent, a more accurate understanding to answer that question. So I haven't read anything regarding the fruit or of the tree, but this is what I imagine. I believe, check it out for yourself, but when Moses was, I think they were burning incense, there is a word that is used and it says cannabis. It was like a weed, a marijuana, Mary Jane, Mary, Mary. So when they burned these incense that may have been cannabis, it produced a high, a sweet aroma. I mean, let's look at this. Why would God come down here and make the earth? I mean, what if God... yeah, okay. So what if God made the earth to produce a certain type of tree that was supposed to produce a certain type of fruit? And if you ate of this fruit was really intoxicating. But it was such a fine wine or fine fruit that when it produced a wine, because they make cookies out of cannabis, they make weed out of cannabis, they make oils out of cannabis, they do a lot of things. It's like George Washington Carver. You do a lot of things with a peanut. Same thing with cannabis. So God makes this earth to produce this tree so that when he comes to you, your mind isn't right. Your mind isn't able to understand God and what you are about to see. So this drink that is given to you relaxes you so you are able to be in front of God. Now, if cannabis, the Hebrew word cannabis is in the Bible and it is used in a ritual, I'm just speculating that when the serpent gave this fruit, this something that was edible to Eve to really get her off her square, to become intoxicated so that she can do what she did. I mean, have you known of any daughters who got their father drunk and had sex with them? I mean, that's written in the Bible. I'm not talking in real life, and I know things happen, in all due respect. But when this intoxicating drinks, or when intoxicating beverages or foods are introduced to the body, it is another spirit. We're not supposed to be of these spirits. But in this case, in this idea, I'm just talking, in this idea of a tree in this garden that you weren't supposed to touch. If a drug cartel had some land and he hired you as a worker and said, cultivate this land, and he finds out that you've been taking some of the stuff, what's going to happen to you? Now, God has told Adam and Eve, don't take of this tree because this is top shelf. For those who understand, this is top shelf stuff. And you'll be able to have it at a later time when I know that you can overcome your body. Because if you take this stuff, it's like Cat Williams said, they got weed called death. You want to smoke death? What? No, man, I ain't. But you partake of this fruit of this tree, and you will become intoxicated. Now, the burning bush, this is esoteric. I'm freestyling now because of this sign that I seen, and it said church and being baptized in cannabis. So we have to be of sound mind. Don't partake of these intoxicants. You have to be sober minded. You can't be out here drinking and smoking. If you are, it's time to come off of it. God will forgive you. I mean, look, if you ate pork before, that's pretty nasty. If you ate shrimp before, then you know that the shrimp are the roaches of the sea. Look, man, it is what it is. There's nothing that you could do that God will not forgive you of other than denying his wife. You could even deny Jesus, whether he's the Messiah, the Son of God, if he didn't have a mother, didn't have a father or had a father. It don't matter. You can deny Jesus, but you cannot deny the Holy Spirit. So in this wisdom, as sin has come into the world through a woman, as sin has come into the world through words and the misunderstanding of words, sin coming into the world by an edible fruit. And when you look at the Hebrew, the word eat and the word burn are really similar. So it's like when they ate of the fruit, is it that they burned, that they smoked? Something happened. It may have been a cocoa leaf. It may have been another type of intoxicant, but I'm just speculating on this because of the sign that I've just seen. And as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of the end. See, God is going to also give us a drink, a wine. And I can imagine that this wine that he is going to give us is going to make us spill the beans. We're going to start talking about a lot of stuff. And if we're talking about stuff that's of the world, that's of the flesh and not of the spirit, he ain't trying to hear that. He wants you to give an account of your faith and what he has done for you. He got all the time in the world. But if you down here smoking and drinking and talking about what you bought, what you ate, what you wearing, he's not going to hear. He ain't got time for that. It's just like a TV show. You turn on the TV and you watch a series, soap opera or whatever, and it's not interesting to you, you turn it off. But if God is sitting and wanting to hear how his mother, the Holy Spirit, has operated in your life and how you fulfill your vocation in this realm of reality, I think that's going to be pretty interesting to him. That's what he wants to hear. Doesn't faith come by hearing? Don't you think God want to listen to you? What do you have to say about it? So if it was cannabis or if it wasn't, it don't matter. The thing is this. Typically, when we as men drink an intoxicating drink, things happen that shouldn't happen. Moses listened to God, built something for an ark for 120 years, got all the Gentiles on, got his family on. The animals were Gentiles. The animals weren't just animals to eat. The animals were also Gentiles. The beasts of the field, they were Gentiles. And after he did all of that, God got him through this calamity, seeing 40 days and 40 nights of, hurricanes and, storms and stuff. After all of that, what does Moses do? He sits down and take a drink. Dude, I just been through a lot. Let me just take a drink. When you understand Genesis 3:15, you will understand what happened with Noah. There was no homosexual activity. Jeez, there's so much stuff that the Gentiles perpetuate, and Ham being cursed. No, because of the blackness of his skin. So, what should we do? I'm not judging you if you drink or smoke. I'm just saying. Because it's not what goes into a man's mouth that makes him defile, it's what comes out. You drink your drink and you smoke your smoke. What does the Lord say? And if he is your Lord, is he okay with you drinking and smoking? If y'all got that understanding, that's your vocation, hey, I'm good. I ain't got no problem with you. Like I said, I got problems of my own that I'm trying to work out. But we all have some vices of the flesh. We all like to do something of the flesh. Even sleep. I'm so tired sometimes, I just want to rest. Doesn't the Most High say, wake up, you sluggard? Yeah, everything is, you already know the beginning and the end. And you already know that I'm about to do what I'm about to do. That don't mean that you just sit down and rest. Wake up. It's time to go to work. God is working through you. But can he work through you when you are not sober? Whatever that billboard word, the billboard, it is amazing how it said church. CHURCH. If you have wisdom, go in the dictionary and look up the etymology to the word church. It will be CIRCE. Look it up. If I'm lying, I'm flying. It's the daughter of the devil. Greek mythology. It's the pagan temples. What they're doing in church, nothing to do with the Most High and his teachings. That is why he is saying, come out of the feminine, come out of her, my people, so you do not partake of her plagues. It's not so much of you listening. Please get it out. Talk to somebody. It's time. We have to be fishers of men. We gotta use this bait in a certain way to get people's attention so that the spirit can start working with them. It's not about flesh and blood revealing this. It's about the spirit. Me and you might be in somewhat of an agreement, or you might like what you're hearing, but the reality is we have a work to do. And if we are messing around by not controlling our sexual authority, we will not be able to produce sons of God. That's what our vocation is. We are supposed to be fishers of men. Do you understand what that means? We are supposed to be able to read this word, digest this word, and produce it to the people now and the dilemmas that they're going through. To be able to give them a hope in our salvation. Our Redeemer is coming. The plagues of Psalms 91 are approaching. Are you in your ark? Are you prepared? Are you like Joseph? Have you prepared some food? This is real. When the pandemic hits and the truck drivers can't drive to Sam's Club and BJ's and Kroger or whatever shopping mart is in your supermarket is in your area, who's going to deliver the food? And you don't have no land to have a garden? It's time. Yes, God can, produce some manna, something that comes out of heaven that gives you sustenance to the next day. But come on, we got to prepare. We got work to do. If we are of God, then we should be doing what God says. Prepare. All of the examples in the Old Testament are here to help us get through this next transition. Some of us will not make it. But for those who do, we've been doing it we've either made it by the grace of God and or that we were his chosen and we've been studying. But it's not by our works and being able to, articulate this word. Because I'm doing this doesn't mean that I'm going to be saved. Even Moses didn't make it into the promised land. We have to be humble and really don't know how else to say it. Offer yourselves as a living sacrifice. The three things that were in the Ark of the Covenant was Aaron's staff, jar of manna, and the 10 Commandments. The Ark was transported for 9 months in a woman. That's what John was saying. If a woman is smoking weed and her child is in her womb, if the mother is around weed and this is her child, we have to partake of the tree of life. Mothers have to speak up and say, no, this is my child. This is wrong. Especially if it's the first child out of your womb. You have to dedicate this child to the Most High. Especially if you're an Israelite. If you're a Gentile and you dedicate the child to God, no problem. No problem. But in showing our authority, sexual authority is not just dependent upon physical. We are begetting sons of God, children of God, by giving them the living word. Let them chew on it, digest it, and let them figure it out. But in the meantime, we have to do what we have to do. We have to be about our Father's business. We are our brother's keeper. I am the man of Maranatha of Detroit, Michigan. Pray for a brother.